What is up, everybody? I gotta adjust my volume. Hey, it is Jazari Qua here. Welcome back to the live stream. I apologize in advance. I'm rocking my Nebraska gear. I am kind of out of practice with this, I'm a bit nervous. But today is the Texas Senate primary, and not only Texas, but it's also Arkansas and North Carolina right now. So this has been such a hot, heated race coming out of Texas on both sides, the Democratic side as well as the Republican side, because you have essentially two firebrands running in each category or each political party. But I wanted to come on here and do kind of just a live stream, just going through the results, because let me tell you guys something about me. Election night is like the Super Bowl for me. I love election night in America. I watch all of the elections. I'll be honest, I don't always follow each one specifically very closely. However, I always tune in. We got a new tool. And it is amazing. Who's that? Susan? Oh. Okay, I do see a comment saying that it is close. We got a new tool. All right, so back in December, actually for the 2024 election, we tried to get Decision Desk, and Decision Desk is supposed to give you more real-time, accurate information on different races, and it also has a lot of historical data, so it's really, really cool. So we tried to get it for the 2024 election night live stream. That didn't work out, but we submitted a request then, and we were put on the wait list forever, so we were submitted a request again in December, and they just emailed us yesterday approving our access for Decision Desk. So we now have this really cool tool where we can look at the different elections and everything that is going on, and really kind of break them down by precinct, by data. It also has we have our table of contents. You have who's leading, the votes, estimated votes remaining, the number, the percentage reported, breaking down by demographic, white, black, Hispanic, Asian, Native. So this is a really, really cool tool, and it really shows you kind of just the total amount of registered voters. That's what that is. So we can literally go and estimate and see how many registered voters are here. So right now in Harris County, which is the largest county in Texas, Jasmine Crockett is leading. So they have 2.6 million registered voters, right? And there's 133,000 estimated votes remaining, 61.43% reported. Obviously, the polls literally just closed 42 minutes ago. So I'm guessing that this is all numbers from early voting. And the most fascinating thing, the really cool thing I think about this entire race is that it has been bringing in the turnout has been amazing, right? There's been over 2 million votes. Our story today said 2 million votes that were casted already in the early voting so far. That is amazing, right? That is super, super cool. It's going to be record turnout. It's going to be awesome. Sorry, I have a little bit of a glisten to me. It's warm in here, and I'm wearing a hoodie. At this time of night, it usually starts to get warm in the studio just because of how the AC is running. So looking here, there's Polymarket. Once again, I am new to this, right? So not election night live streams, but I am new to using this tool, using this data through Decision Desk. And so just bear with me. I'm learning it on the fly with you guys. I think this is going to be really, really cool. So there's different races that they have laid out, the ones to watch for, the more contentious ones. There is also a very fascinating race that is happening in North Carolina's 14th congressional district that I'm going to show you guys, because the candidate in that race, the Democratic candidate, is running as a fake Republican. And that has been stirring a lot of conversation there just about, is this election fraud in some kind of way? Is it a misrepresentation of, her running in the race? And she's doing it as a point to highlight how gerrymandering has really made races a lot less competitive and pushing people out of that democratic process. But so let's get back to Texas, because let me tell you something about them. Texans came for me in the TikTok comments saying I'm not from Texas. I shouldn't speak on anything happening in Texas. And they know better than me and blah blah blah. But let me tell you something: the United States Senate is already like not a democratic institution, and the only reason why it was created was because smaller states feared that larger states by population size were going to have so much more power than the smaller states, and so they established the United States Senate. And previously, the United States Senate was chosen by different state legislatures, right? So senators were supposed to represent states' rights, and that's how they got picked into the Senate. However, there was the 17th Amendment that was passed, which was in 1913, and that allowed direct voting of U.S. senators. But still, if you really think about it, honestly, right, like a senator from Wisconsin or Wyoming could really hold the entire country hostage because they don't want to vote for a piece of legislation, even if it's like super, super popular. But right now, this is on Decision Desk. There are different outlets and all that kind of stuff, right? So the Associated Press is what I used to use, and I still will, obviously. But let's switch over here to the Associated Press. So we have our primary election. Let's go to Texas. These are the different races. So here we have the Texas Senate. So James Tallarico right now, according to the Associated Press, is at 396,733 to Jasmine Crockett's 355,285. I believe that huge influx, because I mean, literally after 40 minutes, there was a huge dump, and I believe that was the early voting that was submitted. So he's at 52.2%. She's at 46.7%, and this is overall. This is the Associated Press like lumps it all together. Right here, you can see kind of the Dallas area right now. James Tallarico is leading in Denton area. Jasmine Crockett is in Tarrant County leading at 68,000, is 52,000. So here's the thing about all of this. Jasmine Crockett and James Tallarico are two very different candidates, right? So I'll switch to this next screen. So you have Jasmine Crockett right up here, which you guys all know Jasmine Crockett. She's currently a sitting United States Congresswoman. So she is a firebrand, right? On the Democratic side, you see her cutting up in committee hearings. That's when remember when she went viral for calling Marjorie Taylor Greene a bleach blonde, bad built butch body, all of that kind of stuff, you know, always going viral for her clapbacks and, you know, quick remarks to Republicans and really fighting back, right? So she is like really pushing back hard. And her entire campaign strategy this election cycle is that Democrats do not need to try to peel off moderates and Republicans and try to convince some MAGA voters. Her messaging is that the Democrats need to rally the base, which is the argument that a lot of people made when Kamala Harris was running, saying that she was campaigning around with Liz Cheney, she shouldn't have been doing that, and that caused her the race. However, now those same people I see are the ones coming from me in TikTok saying that, you know, Texas is different and that was a presidential election and this is a statewide election and things are different in Texas and blah, blah, black sheep, have you any wool? However, James Tallarico is the complete opposite, right? He's trying to appeal to moderates and things. So it's like one of those, it's one of those things that, you know, I really try to wrap my mind around. So it was the same people who were saying that Kamala Harris should have rallied the base, she should have done this, and she should have done that. That's what Jasmine Crockett is actively doing in Texas right now, and they're saying, no, that's not the way to win. We need a fighter, but not the way that you're fighting. James Tallarico's message is much more softer. He wants to be a bridge builder. He wants to be somebody that brings people together, and that's not inherently bad. However, in this political moment that we are in, where you have Donald Trump pushing back and doing everything that he wants to do, I mean, there was some polling earlier on, like midway through Trump's first year, saying that Democratic voters want Democratic elected officials to just completely push back and not make any concessions. Is James Tallarico the one that's going to push back if he gets there? And I've seen a lot of people say they have bad vibes from him. He has not taken any PAC money. However, he has had super PACs donating or running ads in his favor. People were complaining about Jasmine Crockett taking AIPAC money. That's not true because I looked through the Federal Election Commission filings and saw that while she does take PAC money, I think I saw like AT&T on there as one of them. She hasn't taken money from AIPAC directly, but James Tallarico did take $59,000 during, I think, his last state rep race from Miriam Adelson, who was really trying to legalize gambling in Texas. And so this was a super PAC that was backed by Miriam Adelson. But a lot of people feel like James Tallarico is the one who is much more staunch on Israel, who is much more progressive, which I would argue not really. I think they would vote for the same kind of legislation. And the thing, people say that James Tallarico will hold Israel accountable and not approve any funding for them. However, James Tallarico is like in seminary school, he wants to be a minister. And so when it comes down to like if there's legislation that comes across the table to send money and help fund the Holy Land, is the person who is in seminary school trying to become a Baptist minister, is he gonna like not support that? Some food for thought. Now, on the Republican side, pretty much the same thing, right? So you have John Cornyn right up here, the older gentleman to the left of your screen, who has served in the United States for Senate for 25 years. He's been there for over 2 decades, right? Nearly 3 decades, 2.5 decades. Slice, dice, and say it however you want. He is your much more old guard establishment Republican, right? So he is fiscally conservative, socially conservative, but willing to meet people in the middle. Just your standard old style Republican. Ken Paxton is the complete opposite. So he is, a MAGA firebrand Republican, right? He's Attorney General of Texas. Mind you, Ken Paxton was impeached. I have in my notes here. Ken Paxton was impeached by the Texas House on May 27, 2023 in a 121-23 vote with many Republicans voting, right? Because the Republicans have ruled Texas for what seems like since the dawn of time. He was suspended from office while Texas Senate held a trial, but in September 2023, they acquitted him on all charges, so he stayed in office. So there were several top deputies in Paxton's office who reported him to the FBI, saying that he was misusing his office and retaliated against them when they spoke out, right? So prosecutors said that Paxton used his power as Attorney General to help a wealthy donor, real estate developer, Nate Paul, including intervening in legal matters that benefited Paul. So, he was running interference for his friend. I'd like to get him in the door and make a name for himself because I think he'd be a good future Democratic presidential candidate. See, people say that, but like, why do you believe that? Just like out of all honesty, why do you think he would make a great presidential candidate? James Tallarico is who SS Smith 6516 is talking about. So that's Ken Paxton, Trump endorsed, firebrand MAGA Republican, trying to get in there to make some noise. So that's where we are, right? So let me go back to the map here. Let me refresh this. Let me see if there's any AP. Oh, geez. James Tallarico took a little bit more of a lead, right? So right now, 35% of the votes have been counting. This is according to the Associated Press. James Tallarico, as you can see, 52.1. Jasmine Crockett, 404. 46.8%. Let me go back here to Decision Desk. Let's see, like I said, I'm new to this, so I'm like trying to grasp it here. So this has a whole breakdown. Obviously, this is weird because it's backwards on AP. So James Tallarico is green on AP and Jasmine is pink, but Tallarico is like this purple color and Crockett is green here on Decision Desk. So Jasmine Crockett is from Houston, and people have said, why is Jasmine Crockett running for this race? I wish she was running for something else. And I would argue, why is it Jasmine that needs to be running for something else, right? She's already a U.S. Congresswoman, proven, tried and true, tested battle fighter. James Tallarico could be a wild card, but he did serve in the Texas House and has served in the Texas House for about 7 years. But Jasmine Crockett was drawn out of her seat. If you guys remember last year, when there was that redistricting arms race because Donald Trump asked them to find him more seats. So Texas called that mid-cycle redistricting and had Democrats fled to break quorum, right? They went to Illinois, they went to New York to break quorum. But that didn't last a very long time. They ended up coming back, and then those gerrymandered maps were passed. Then, in retaliation, California redrew the map to eliminate five or make five more seats much more competitive for Democrats, more Democratic-leaning seats. So Jasmine Crockett got drawn out of her seat, over here in the Houston area, in the Harris County area. So she got drawn out of her seat. So she is not running for Congress anymore. If Jasmine Crockett does not pull through in this, then Jasmine Crockett will be leaving the federal government in the United States House of Representatives in January. And then she'll be a free agent. She will be a free agent to go off and do what she wants to do. So breaking this down by total registered voters, let's look at Harris County. Jasmine Crockett is leading by 8 points. In Tarrant County, she's leading by 12 percentage points. Tallarico is leading in Travis County by 52 points. And this is all itemized by total descending order of registered voters, right? So there's a lot. Isn't it crazy that in Harris County has more registered voters the entire state of Nebraska? Ain't that crazy? So we have all of these different watch lists here. I do want to pivot over to the Republican side and see what is going on over there. Oh, shoot. Ken Paxton is kind of getting cooked. Again, this is only 35% of the votes that are in. His campaign, his demeanor, his ability to get the moderates and true Christians on board. I love Jasmine, but I think James has the ability to win a presidential race eventually and needs to step into the federal space to start building his name recognition. I would disagree with that because, he could have run for governor of Texas and built up his name recognition that way. You know what I'm saying? You don't necessarily have to be in the United States Senate to take a step up to the to the presidential race. Donald Trump didn't run for any office before, and he became the president. So I wouldn't say that he needs to go to the Senate to use it as a stepping stone. And part of me also, I don't necessarily agree with the whole stepping stone office. I can understand different ways to get involved and get much more experience, but to use an office as a stepping stone, I just don't know how passionate you would be in that office if you are always thinking about your higher aspirations and you're just like, okay, I just got to do this for now. You know what I'm saying? So if somebody wants to run for the city council, but people are saying you should go to the school board first, they might not be as passionate as somebody who truly wants to be on the school board to actually make some change there in that office versus somebody who's just using it as, this is just a stepping stone. Yeah, Ken Paxton is getting cooked. So far. He could come back. Wesley Hunt is not going to catch up. I don't think he's going to catch up. But people were estimating that there would be a runoff. People were saying that there would probably be a runoff on the Republican side and not the Democratic side. However, it's starting to look like the Democrats might have a runoff. You can see the poly market trends here. Ken Paxton at 78%. I don't follow poly market like that. Let me, again, bear with me. I'm going to try to see if I can find North Carolina '14. Yep, that race was already called. Timothy Moore, called by Decision Desk. So Kate Barr was running as a fake Republican. And I think it was kind of just like a protest or messaging campaign um, to pretty much highlight that this gerrymandering has completely erased opportunity, for competitive races. Looking back here, it looks like James Tallarico is still in the lead, 39 percentage points in. This is wrong. Polls close 9 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah, Jasmine Crockett. The other thing, too, is if James Tallarico wins, can he win statewide in Texas? Because if John Cornyn wins, right, your old school Republican, and goes up against James Tallarico, John Cornyn, some would argue, can work a little bit more bipartisanly. Two different time zones in Texas. That's probably it. That's probably right. Look, I've only ever been to Texas once, and let me tell you, it was an absolute disaster, right? So I was in Austin, which actually was beautiful. I liked Austin. Austin was amazing. Houston was also good. I was only in Houston for 24 hours for work, and then drove to Dallas, Texas for less than 24 hours for work, and then flew back to Phoenix, Arizona, and then immediately flew to Washington, D.C., all for work in the summer of 2023. Houston doesn't have any zoning, right? So you could literally have a hospital, a car dealership, a house, all in one area. Like, the zoning is so weird. But it was fun. It was cool. Houston was nice. Austin was cute. Dallas, Texas. I have some friends. I don't know if you guys remember Ross, but Ross is in the Dallas area right now. It literally takes an hour to get anywhere. We went there last summer for the South Sudanese Independence Day celebration, and it literally took an hour, 45 minutes to get anywhere. 45 minutes, an hour, and then once it rains really hard down there, it's impossible to get anywhere. So let's talk about this because I do want to highlight this. So Crockett was saying that voting irregularities could affect the outcome of the Democratic primary. So she was saying that there were irregularities in Dallas County, her home base, could be determinative in an extremely close election, saying, quote, "If one person has the right to vote and they weren't allowed to cast their vote, we should all be standing together, Democrats, Republicans, and we should all be raising hell," she said at a news conference shortly after a judge extended voting hours in Dallas County. Continuing on, so I'm begging you to make sure that you go ahead and figure out where it is that you are supposed to vote, she added. Stand in line and wait. So I believe that there were some changes on where people were supposed to go, because it used to be kind of like an open season type thing where you can go to any polling location. But now, I guess they switched it last minute, and people have specific polling locations they could go. In Nebraska, in Lincoln, Lancaster County, where I am, that's just what it is anyways. I have the same polling location that I always go to. Or if you vote ahead of time or you do mail-in ballot, you can drop it off at the ballot box or intake bins at the county assessors or election commission office and all of that. Yeah, Tim Moore won the Republican nomination as called by the AP. David Reuser wins Republican nomination for U.S. House in North Carolina's 7th Congressional District. Yeah, so they did extend the voting hours. So a Dallas judge ordered the polls to stay open in an extra 2 hours until 9 p.m. local time. which is kind of the same time we are here. Right now it's 8 o'clock, so they have about 56 minutes left. The extension follows chaos in the county and a suburban one outside Austin because the local Republican parties refused to hold joint primaries with Democrats. That meant rather than voting at a county-wide vote centers, as has been done for years in Texas, voters in those two counties needed to find their own precincts to cast ballots. Hundreds were unable to vote, Dallas Democrats said. Democrats asked a judge to extend poll hours. Representative Jasmine Crockett said the extended hours only applied to Democratic primary sites because the GOP did not make the request as well. I want to go over to Twitter and kind of see what the kind of what the vibes are, like what is going on. Oh, the Clinton deposition is still trending. Did y'all see that deposition with Hillary Clinton literally taking off on Lauren Boebert? Oh my goodness. Hillary Clinton brought the fire, and Lauren Boebert sounded scared, talking about, I'll take it down. I'm sorry. I posted this photo before the hearing started. Hillary Clinton was like, it does not matter. We're all abiding by the same rules. And here you are leaking photos on Twitter by Benny Johnson, who put his tag all over it, talking about, I got permission to post it from Lauren Boebert with credit. Why does a sitting congresswoman need to be given credit? Just nasty. Tragic. No decorum. People don't have any home training. Just disgusting. So the real test would be, right, if John Cornyn wins against Ken Paxton, can James Tallarico win against Cornyn, who has been there for 25 years? We're at 36% of the votes counted. Jasmine Crockett and James Tallarico, he is still holding a pretty steady lead, about 40-some thousand votes ahead. Nearly 50,000 votes ahead. High 40,000s, high 40,000s. So, okay, I think it's also important to note right here, there has been no updates. I mean, Crockett is leading pretty, 61% of the votes in on Harris County. And Crockett is around 114,000, 61% of the votes cast, which is wild because that is like the largest county in Texas. So that has like Houston right there at the center of it. The Dallas area vote hasn't been submitted. So like Dallas County, we don't have any numbers on that yet, but for the Democrats, the Republicans, as you can see, we have some numbers in there. They're like actually tied for Harris County. But you have all of these other candidates who are currently running. So you have John Cornyn, who has a pretty healthy lead against Ken Paxton. This might go to a runoff, actually, now that I'm looking at it. I mean, he has to clear 50%. He has to clear 50%. Because, I mean, if we start getting down to 90%, 95%, and he is not, with the estimated votes, I mean, I think once we start to get to kind of 80% of the vote in, we'll start to get like a clearer picture on on what's left. So we have the estimated votes remaining. Let's look at in Harris County, 87,000 votes remaining. Again, that's the largest district, or that's the largest county in Texas. I mean, Jasmine Crockett is at 213,000 votes, 133,000 estimated votes remaining. If we go here and look, and that's like her home base, I believe. I believe she's in that area. Maybe that might be what puts her over the edge. Give me 1 second. I need to blow my nose. I forgot to share this stream from my no, that's not what I want to do. Hold on. But yeah, I mean, James Tallarico, great candidate. You know, one of the things that I kept hearing from one thing that I just kept hearing from voters was, I like Jasmine Crockett. I will vote for her if she pulls through, but I'm going to give my primary vote to James Tallarico. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Not going to win if you don't vote for the person, right? And that's like that's the thing. Like, a lot of people are just like, oh, I want to vote for her. I wish I could vote for her. I want to vote for her, but I think that James has a better chance, so I'm going to vote for him, right? So it's like, just vote for the person you want to vote for. Don't vote for them because you're worried about who's gonna, you know, pull through in the general, right? Like, that's when the work actually hits, right? Like, that's when the boots have to hit the ground and you got to get out there and pound the pavement. Why is Jasmine leaving the House of Representatives? Great question. So Jasmine is leaving the House of Representatives because she was drawn out of her seat when Texas did their mid-cycle redistricting. So Donald Trump and the Republicans in the Texas Senate, Donald Trump and the Republican lawmakers in Texas were targeting Jasmine Crockett to get her out. So they redrew her seat, right? They wanted to draw her out of her seat in the House of Representatives because they redrew the entire map, or I believe just the House of Representatives. So they redrew that map to make her seat less winnable, all right? And she says she has internal polling saying that she could win a Senate race. And so she was just like, okay, I'm just going to run for the Senate instead of like trying to fight to stay, you know. I mean, it's like we're just going to go big. And so that's why she's leaving. She held seat 30. So what I think I'm going to do is, let's go over to her actual thing. There are Democrats running in that seat. There are Democrats running to replace her in that seat. But it's not making no noise. It's not making any noise. So let's go over and see. She was in House District 3? 30? Was she in 30 or 31? looked at this earlier. I don't know why I'm not seeing. I thought it was 30. Yeah, it's 30. I was right. Yeah, House District 30. Ooh. It's getting tired of me. Actually, let's hop over to the AP and see what the AP has. Oh, wow. 13% only of the votes counted. So if we go to the Republicans, oh, I guess she's like in the Dallas area. My bad. Oh my gosh. And again, we really only have concrete numbers for Dallas right now because of what I mentioned earlier a little bit ago, how the I think what 13%, yeah, 46% of the votes counted for them, for the Republicans, because a judge extended the hours of the polling locations. I mean, looking here. Yeah, as you can see, that seat was heavily blue. I mean, she won it with 197,000 votes. That was back in 2024. So yeah. Oh, somebody said they can barely hear me with my volume maxed. Their volume maxed. This is the thing with these microphones. Hold on. Let me see if I can fix this. I don't know. Is this any better? Said I'm using the wrong mic. Okay, said much better. Ooh, I'm getting nervous. That made me hot. Damn. Oh, said, but I think it's because you talk louder. That sounds very roomy. Hold on. Yeah. So that is currently what is happening right now in Texas. James Talarico is leading, but in the Dallas area, the Dallas area has not been submitted quite yet, just because they extended the voting hours. well. I think I'm using the right. Hold on. I think it's just this software because everything is plugged in how it normally is. Huh. Damn. So another thing, James Tallarico's lead kind of shrunk a little bit. Oh, never mind, it grew. So Jasmine's at 45% and he is at 53, but that's also with 42% of the votes remaining. We're about to crack 1 million votes. Tallarico is Austin, Basin Crockett is Dallas or Houston. Crockett is Dallas based, but she has a lot of support out in Houston. Like a lot. I mean, she's doing pretty decent there right now. Like really waiting on these Dallas numbers because that's going to be huge. I'm trying to make sure that the audio is still good. She's got the black vote heavily, I hear. Who do you think has the edge on the Latino vote? So this is this is a conversation that was said a lot. So, gosh, golly, it is warm in here. So this is a conversation that a lot of people have been talking about. So Texas is a majority minority state, so there are more minorities. That's what they say. However, with the Latino vote, I think James Tallarico is gonna kind of like dominate in that. Actually, we can actually check right now. So let's take a look at the Hispanic vote. Oh wait, I don't think it actually shows. It just shows the total number of registered voters by county, so it's not going to actually show who is winning or kind of like what the outcome is. I think it'll probably just show after. I was looking at this polling earlier. Yeah, John Cornyn is leading. by roughly 30,000 votes. 1 million votes have been cast. So part of me is just like, how much of this is actually same day voting, or are these just like the updated numbers from the? Are these just the updated numbers from? Are these the numbers from the early voting? I hope she wins the job she's applying for. Who do you think has a better viability versus a Republican pick in November? See, that's the thing. That's the thing. John Cornyn has been there for 25 years. Like, he's running for another 6-year term. The dude is pretty old. He has been there for a really long time. I mean, he got elected to Congress when I was 5 years old to the U.S. Senate. And before that, I believe he was a part of Texas's Supreme Court. So the dude has been around for a very long time. So he's very, very, very ingrained in the Texas politics there, right? Like, he's a staple. He's been there forever. Like I said earlier, probably it feels like since the dawn of time. However, I think that people are saying that James Tallarico can build this coalition, right? He can peel off these voters from the other side. But if John Cornyn is going to win by these huge numbers against Ken Paxton, right? All of Ken Paxton's voters are just going to go and vote for the Republican, right? Are they really going to peel off and vote for James Tallarico when they've been voting for the same guy for a pretty long time, and they must be satisfied because they keep sending him back? You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't seem like Texas gets rid of their incumbents. I think no matter what, it's going to be an uphill battle. However, could Jasmine Crockett or James Tallarico do it? That's the question, right? People keep saying that, you know, Texas is racist. They're never going to vote for a white woman, and so they need to support the white man who can appeal to the moderates. But is that a winning strategy, right? Is that strategy going to continuously get people over the edge? I was seeing that people were talking and making a lot of noise about how he went to Lubbock County. Fun fact, I was going to go to Texas Tech in Lubbock in College Station, but that didn't work out. To become a petroleum engineer. But James Tallarico is leading in Lubbock County. He has extended his vote by like 97,000 votes. Wow. Or 98,000 votes. So, I mean, he's winning in Lubbock County. People were saying, like, that's a county that Trump, like, heavily carried. But James Tallarico is kind of winning by just a couple of thousand votes in that county. Not a huge margin. Then again, there's not a lot of Democratic voters there to begin with. Sorry, I'm just trying to... That's a big margin, yeah. Yeah. Um, I want to go over to Twitter and kind of see like what the conversation is over there. So I used to do this a lot, but if somebody wants to come on, send me a message and I'll send you the the link to join and have a discussion. But yeah, this Clinton deposition is like really, really taking off. I mean, there like rightfully so. I mean, there's what, like 950,000 tweets about it. Dallas County. Let's see what people are talking about in Dallas County. Hundreds of Dallas County voters being turned away. What a coincidence. This was an hour ago. Um, Damn. Dang. I guess you guys couldn't hear that. So pretty much this guy was over there saying that like this is the same location that he's been voting for the last 3 years, and there's like a lot of confusion on where people are supposed to go, where they're not supposed to go. That's why a judge had ordered the uh, the polls to stay open for an additional 2 hours. So that is what is currently happening. Lots of confusion. I mean, are the Democrats going to come out and say, "Oh my gosh, this is election fraud"? Probably not. But they sure will complain about it. Okay, Jasmine or James Tallarico is now 100,000 votes ahead. We're at 71% votes for some of these counties. So, like Houston County, we're at 61%, or Harris County, where Houston is located. She's definitely like, she's dominating pretty well there. So, yeah. I mean, Dallas County is going to be huge, right? Because literally there is just like literally 0.04% more registered Hispanic voters than black voters. And like I said, James Talarico has like kind of the edge on that. Um, but I don't know. We're still not going to get any numbers yet on this. I mean, we have 25 minutes until those polls close, but I mean, the numbers are changing, but it's just not being reported. Meanwhile, things are like really taking off back in Iran, and the Ellisons are back at it again. I am getting kind of shadow banned on TikTok. So we made a video like talking about kind of just like the updates and everything that is currently going on in Iran right now, and it got one view. It got one view. Damn, this does sound roomy. Yeah. Let me go back to the Republican one. John Cornyn's lead is expanding, currently at 52.5, about 53% of the votes counted that are in, and he is cooking Ken Paxton. I mean, Ken Paxton has been like shrouded in controversy, like really bad. You know what I'm saying? Like I was saying earlier, he got impeached for using the office of the attorney general in a way that he shouldn't have been using it. I mean, what is this? Lubbock County. Let's look at the Texas governor race. Oh, look at that. Greg Abbott is at like 900 and some thousand votes. That's on the Republican side. So you got a good amount of Dallas votes coming in. Dang. Gina Hinojosa? I believe that's how you say her name. But James Tallarico against John Cornyn, I don't know. Because John Cornyn is that like old style establishment Republican who is fiscally conservative, socially conservative, but can work across the aisle. Ken Paxton is the MAGA Republican in the race. So like, why vote for, the moderate Democrat or moderately progressive Democrat when you could just vote for, the conservative, right? I know you guys have heard that before. Ray, do you want to hop on stream with me? You should. I think that would be great. This is like the poly market betting. So right now you have 99.8% are saying that James Tallarico will win. Then what, Kalshi? So this has a better breakdown. So the ballots returned from early voting was 31,200. Early voting on the Democratic side, 1.3 million. Yeah, so Harris County and Dallas County had, my camera's not set up at all. That's tempting though. Harris County, like I mentioned earlier, that's where Houston is located. The largest registered voting population for county-wise in Texas. 2,444 ballots were returned, and this was in-person early votes, 208,000. In the Dallas County, 185,000, 13 actual in-person votes, and then 688 votes that were turned in. But as you can see, like in the Dallas County area, we have not got, a concrete number of votes come in. So the markets are saying that James Tallarico is going to win. Wow. We're at 50% of the votes in. 50% of the votes in. James Tallarico is leading. But like I said earlier, there were a lot of people saying, oh, I want to vote for Jasmine Crockett, but I'm going to vote for James Tallarico because he could win in the general. But if Jasmine Crockett pulls ahead, then I will vote for her in the general. But it's like, that's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? If everybody's saying that, then that's just what's going to happen. My guess is that James Tallarico might win this, but then get completely obliterated by John Cornyn in the general election. I mean, he's just did the math, 103,598 votes ahead of Jasmine Crockett. You're in line, stay in line, you get to vote. Let me tell you something that I just didn't really like when people were talking about Jasmine Harris's campaign. They were talking about, oh, she's just loud and chaotic, but James Tallarico is, soft spoken and blah, blah, blah. Fill in the blank on what stereotype that is. Let's see if there are any updates on. Okay, that was 6:49. Oh, voting was extended in 3 Texas counties. Democratic polling locations in Dallas and Williamson counties stayed open late because of confusion caused by the county Republican parties refusing to hold a joint primary with Democrats. Okay, we know that, but where's the 3rd county? El Paso, due to a problem with the county's voter check-in system. Interesting. You have all of these races in North Carolina being called. Again, they're about like an hour ahead, so. Ray, you don't have to have your camera set up. You can just do audio only. Oh, advertisement. I want to look at the North Carolina Democratic Senate because primary. Roy Cooper. Who was the other lady? There was another. Okay, which one was I looking at earlier? Was that in Arkansas? Yeah, Haley Schaffner won. I mean, some of these like races, right? Do you guys remember? Gosh, what was his name? I see his face. I remember his ad. He had one where he was smoking a joint, talking about legalizing marijuana. He ran for the Senate in Arkansas. Gary Chambers. Yeah, Gary Chambers, American civil rights activist. I don't want to share this tab because it actually has him. You know, smoking that joint. Let's go back to see, this is the thing about like Arkansas's like Senate race, right? Like there have been very strong Democrats that have tried to flip Arkansas, but like, oh my gosh, you know? Oop. This was in 2020. When did Gary Chambers run? Let me see. For Senate run was in Louisiana. Oh my gosh, I was off. Arkansas was close, but that was in Louisiana. Anyway, never mind. That was in Louisiana. I thought it was Arkansas. But like Tom Cotton, right? So he's a current U.S. senator. I mean, look at this vote margin. Sounds bold for Arkansas. Nathan Scott is in the chat. What's up, Nathan? Thank you for tuning in to our election night coverage. I was saying before I started, election night is like the Super Bowl for me, but I don't have any chips or dip, you know? All I have is my water. Gosh, I'm curious now. What was the outcome in 2022? There was 8,313 races. Okay, let's do this by vote because state, duh. Louisiana. Okay, there were 20. So Gary Chambers did get the nomination, but look at the disparity. Like, dang. Looks like Tallarico has it. He has a pretty healthy lead. He does. I mean, over 100,000. However, we still don't have, we're at 50% of the estimated votes in. These are the remaining votes. I mean, in the Dallas area, current margin even, okay. I mean, there's still 272,000. Harris County, there's still 134,000. And Crockett is leading with that, and that's 61% in. Yeah, this race is gonna cross over at 2 million. Polymarket has him at 99%. We'll see. The only reason why I say that is because there was like chaos with the votes ahead of time, like when people were trying to go to their polling locations, and they extended voting hours in 3 different counties, and Dallas County being one of them. I've never been one to look at Polymarket or gambling markets to see who would win. It's a new thing. El Paso has a huge population, a Hispanic population now. El Paso is like literally in the middle of, like, there's an El Paso, Texas and El Paso, Mexico. That's what, like, I've heard. It's like the border literally runs through the town. The real test is, would he be able to win against Jasmine Crockett? Or against James Cornyn? Because James Cornyn has been there for quite some time. Somebody said, who's your pick? So, that's the thing. Like, Jasmine Crockett is a through and through, battle-tested fighter in Congress. Okay. James Tallarico. Like, the other thing is people keep saying that Jasmine Crockett keeps taking AIPAC money. Jasmine Crockett takes AIPAC money. I went through the Federal Election Commission website and I could not see where she has money that she took from AIPAC. So, like, there's just like a lot of misinformation with that. James Tallarico. So that's the thing too. Like, people are like, oh, she's in it with Israel. James Tallarico is against that, but he's a minister. And somebody said, like, a video, they were like, you really think the guy who's studying to be a minister in seminary school, when it comes to supporting the Holy Land, do you think he's going to say no to that? You know? Meanwhile, he's been attending a lot of AIPAC fundraisers. He's been photographed with stuff. He got $59,000 from Miriam Adelson's pick, who gave $100 million to Donald Trump so that he can annex the West Bank. And she and her husband all together have been $300 million in on Donald Trump's campaign and all that kind of stuff. Let me see. What do you say? I like Crockett policy-wise, but she's kind of left MAGA. Like, she questions Trump's election integrity and kicked a journalist out of her rally for writing an article she didn't like. I didn't hear about that. I didn't hear about her kicking a journalist out of her rally for writing an article they didn't like. I will say, Jasmine, like, stop with oh, I never thought I would be on Essence magazine. I never thought this would happen to me, or I'd be on The View. I mean, that's just an issue that I have across the board, how politics has turned into a celebrities game, right? So it has turned into me, my fan base, my popularity, my clout. So let's look at Jasmine Crockett, okay? So total receipts. Browse receipts. Let's go to raw data. Yeah, I mean, she's taking PAC money. She took $1,000 from AT&T for one of them. And, like, PAC money and corporate PAC money, those are two different things, right? So, like, I could have a PAC, right? If I had a PAC that said, you know, elect, like, Leaders of Tomorrow PAC, and I endorsed and gave money to anyone under 30, right? Like, is that necessarily a bad thing, right? But she does have Grasshopper Bank gave her money. PAC to the Future. No available data. So she hasn't taken money from AIPAC, but everybody keeps saying she has. Oh, and then Crockett lied about it, but the journalist published audio of it happening. Yeah, that's not cool. I feel like you should look up the PACs. What's PAC to the Future? I'm curious. By the way, can you guys hear me okay? Somebody on Twitch earlier was saying that the audio was sounding bad, so I just want to make sure that it's good. All right, so, like, okay, let's look at PAC for the Future. Again, just double checking. No data from AIPAC. PAC. PAC to the future, $5,000. Oh, come on. It's loading. All right. Nancy Pelosi. It's a leadership PAC. In Washington, D.C., the treasurer is Paul Pelosi. So it's like a part of like, it's a Democratic PAC. Nancy Pelosi is running? Hold on. I thought she said she was going to retire. It just might not be updated on the thing. I mean, AP has it as 46% of the votes cast. James's lead has shrunk. He was at over 100,000. Well, according to AP. Well, on Decision Desk, he was over 100,000, but AP might be lagging. Yeah, AP is lagging because Decision Desk has him at 645,000 and Jasmine at 538. It's a wee bit quiet in my AirPods. I gotta figure this out. Golly. Yeah, that's the PAC to the future. So you can literally look through all of the different committees. You can look through to see exactly who has raised how much money. I mean, being here in Nebraska, this is also like pretty useful. So you can kind of see who is, you know, raising more, blah, blah, blah. I mean, campaign finance data, find elections, right? You can look at state. So I'm in Nebraska, so let's just look at Nebraska. The second congressional district is a pretty hotly contested race right now. You can see all of the candidates here, and you can see who has raised how much. Oh, showing the wrong tab. You could see how much money. Let me back up. So campaign finance data, find elections here, and then you can do each year, find by zip code. You can select the state. So Nebraska, 2nd District, Nebraska House District. All these different people, right? So Brinker Harding is the only Republican in there right now, and this is how much money he's raised, how much he spent, what he has on hand. Denise Powell has raised the most money in the 2nd congressional district race. Over $1 million, that's how much she spent, and that's how much she has cash on hand. So she has the most money on hand. However, does it actually translate to votes, right? Does that actually translate to people coming out and voting for you? Because the polling is suggesting that Denise is in 3rd place, released by 2 different campaigns. John Kavanaugh has the name recognition, right? He's a sitting state senator. Has raised $674,000. This is what he dispersed, and this is what's remaining. Brett Lindstrom is no longer in the race. He dropped out, but I mean, he didn't really spend that much money relative to how much he's raised. Oh, Ken Paxton might be catching up. John Cornyn is leading, but by like 45,000 votes. James Tallarico's lead extended, according to Decision Desk, a bit. Ooh. Okay, we're starting to get some numbers from El Paso. Guess I want Paxton to win because he's a worse candidate. That's what people say. That's what the streets are saying. So, yeah, we're starting to get numbers from El Paso. This is what I was trying to find. Tallarico is in the lead. Votes 39,000. Estimated votes remaining. How would you guys feel if Jasmine Crockett left the scene? Because if she doesn't pull through the primary, I mean, that's kind of it. Somebody said, is she still in the house? She would not get to stay in the house because she was drawn out of her seat. I mean, she wasn't necessarily like completely drawn out of her seat, but they gerrymandered it to the point where it's like she'll have a hard time winning. So she was targeted by Republicans and Donald Trump for that seat. Ray said he would feel defeated. Oh, man. But what could she do? Nathan, where are you watching from? Out of curiosity. Oh, you're in Tennessee. What did you guys think about Afton Bain running in the 7th congressional district for that special election? Because that was wild. That was wild. I mean, that was when I first started to think, like, oh, we might see some movement because Afton Bain really erased a pretty healthy lead, or because that was like a Trump plus what, 20 something district, if I remember correctly. And the Republican won it in the special election only by like, what was it, like 4 points or 8 points, 8.9, 9 points? That was crazy. That was a wild election. Dang. Yeah, she did well. Tennessee is very gerrymandered also. I really thought Afton Bain was gonna pull through that. But I mean, she has a case that she could make, right? Like, hey, I erased this lead. Things are only getting worse with the Trump administration. That guy, like, she could go back toe to toe again with that guy because it was a special election. Tennessee has one Democrat out of 9 seats. It would probably have 3 if it was distributed right. That's very interesting. I mean, no, it's not interesting. It's absolutely terrible, but Nashville is very liberal and it got gerrymandered, so there are no Democratic seats there anymore. Man, are you in Nashville? Because I went to Nashville last year and I did not have like the best experience. Look, so I'm in Nebraska, as you can see, and I went to Nashville. Um, I mean, the experience was fun. We went to a party um, at a what felt like a secret like bar that Winona Judd's husband was hosting, and then she came and like we got to talk to her. She came over and they performed some songs and we got to talk to her. But I went to Nashville, super excited. Sorry, my headphones is. I went to Nashville, super excited. I was like, we're gonna have a hoedown, throwdown. The food is gonna be so good. I was so excited, but then I learned that your guys' barbecue is more like vinegar based instead of like. So it's more runny than it is like thick, and I'm used to like thick barbecue, right? So it almost felt like the barbecue was a juice, and I was really disappointed by that. I was really disappointed by that. I was not happy with the barbecue. I'm in Oak Ridge, if you know it, the town that made the atomic bomb. The one that was in like Oppenheimer. Yep. Okay. Dude, I tried to watch that movie. I could not get into it. I could not get into it because it seemed like there was so much going on, but nothing at the same time in the beginning. So it like dragged on and stuff, and I'm just like, okay, like I can't follow this. So I turned it off, and it's like a long movie too. Maybe I'll try to like buckle down and try to get through it, but all right. So we have 63% of the votes in James Tallarico at 52%, Jasmine Crockett at 46%. Nathan, who are you rooting for? Who do you want to pull through for this? Who are you? Who are you? What team are you? For which primary? For this one, Jasmine Crockett or James Tallarico? I like his policies and talking style. Okay. I also like his sermon on Christian nationalism. So, would you say, are you watching this like on your phone, or do you have like a desktop and a setup? Because I would say that you should come on and we should chat about it. But if you have like the setup um, already going. However, do you think, like, I wouldn't categorize him as a Christian nationalist, but where I get confused is that James Tallarico has centered his faith around his campaign. So it's almost like, is there some like overlap there? I mean, is he, again, like, I wouldn't say he's a Christian nationalist, but could it also be a thing of where, like, he's going to start voting policies based on, is being a Christian, but not like put that at the forefront? It was an anti-Christian nationalism sermon. But that's what I'm saying. So it's just like he talks about Christian nationalism, and how he's going to fight against that. But at the same time, his campaign is wrapped around his values as a Christian, and that's like a center of his campaign. So like maybe somebody needs to explain it to me better. But that's where I kind of get like confused on where he stands. Oh, here we go. We got some Dallas votes in. Crockett leading in Dallas by 22%, 70% reported, 81,000 estimated votes remaining. This is also AP. Ooh, Ken Paxton is kind of catching up. 55% of the votes counted. This is according to the Associated Press. Democratic primary, James Tallarico. Again, these numbers are off. 59% of the votes counted. James is at 747, Jasmine 677. 47 to 51%. Right, so by this, there's still 41% of the votes remaining, according to the AP. So, I mean, she erased his lead by like 30,000, 34,000. It's insane to me how these are like actual people. Right, look at all these votes. These are individual people. By the way, I would say I believe in God, but I'm not super religious, but I find his viewpoint interesting. Fascinating. I'm just looking at Twitter really quick. I went to a Christian school for about 10 years. I would say Tallarico thinks Republicans are picking and choosing policies from mainly the Old Testament, and Tallarico wants to focus more on the New Testament, which is more about loving your neighbor, helping the poor, frankly, better advice overall. Okay. So the political HQ, like an hour ago, called this race. Wait, why are you calling it without Dallas? And didn't you get a call wrong before by doing this? No shade. No, I got a call wrong in a New Jersey House primary because the reported totals from the Secretary of State weren't accurate. Are you sure you want to call this yet? Dallas is kind of big, not big enough. Again, James Tallarico, a Texas state representative, received campaign contributions linked to Miriam Adelson, widow of Sheldon Adelson and owner of Las Vegas Sands Casino, through her funding of the Texas Sands PAC, a pro-gambling political action committee. White man winning in Texas is the least shocking news of the night. Everybody always asks Grok, is it true? Too early to call. Still reporting. Polls extended there. Man. Twitter is oh wow. Let's see. Yeah, I mean that guy is calling races. He said that well, I guess let me look at this. 56%, 44% left. I don't know. It's like extremely. I mean, you must be doing some intense math to like be able to hammer down exactly that there's going to be a runoff. Ray, are you still here? Or did you tune out? It's still here. I don't even know how like you work this. Like, right? Like, how do you have it? Like, where do you place bets on the market? Meanwhile, Pentagon releases the names of 4 killed troops and says they died in a drone strike in Kuwait. Looks like Decision Desk did call this. So looks like they're going to go to a runoff. Oh my gosh. Any stockbroker, I work at Schwab. There's a website where you can bet money and it adjusts based on bets. It's like a sports betting for politics. Huh. So they are going to a runoff. Cornyn and Paxton, so there's that. I really want to see if this will be called soon. I mean, either way, I have seen so many people online say they want to vote for Jasmine but are gonna vote for Tallarico because they feel he is the one who can win in a general. I've seen that so much. I saw that a lot. Ooh. Nathan, how would you feel if Tallarico advances but then gets like destroyed in the general? Oh man. I mean, the Dems have more votes, but there's Wesley Hunt too. I never heard of this guy, Ahmad Hassan. But this is a neat tool, Decision Desk. You know, like I was saying earlier, we tried to get it for the presidential election, but we couldn't. So this is also kind of like my test run, like playing with it to see um, how it all works. I want to test something out. 1 second. Um, Someone said they think it's my friend said he thinks it's coming through my um, laptop. Testing. Testing. Oh shit, it actually is coming through my laptop. Testing. Oh shit, it actually is coming through my laptop. Testing. Wow, how disappointing. Oh shit, it actually is coming through my laptop. Testing. Wow, how disappointing. Oh my gosh. It is. Let me see if this will. I wonder if this is making any kind of difference. I'm gonna turn the camera back on. I just had to like move some things around. Oh wait, I think this is actually better. Wow. Wow. I was literally about to crash out. This whole time I'm sitting here thinking, oh my gosh. Wow, I'm a fucking nerd. Oh, bro. So this whole time I'm sitting here thinking that like there's something wrong with this. This was a $500 mic. All right. And the interface we're using, our tech director Vin said we need it, and it was like also $500. So I'm just like, come the fuck on. Damn, that pissed me off. Well, we got it to work at the very end. Oh man. And he was saying that. He was texting me like, I think it's the laptop. And I'm like, but everything says it's connected to the I'm texting him. Yeah, sometimes when I'm on Discord, it changes my mic to my earbuds mic instead of my actual mic, and I don't know it for hours. Damn, but people were saying like, "Hey, dude, like you sound off. Like something sounds like roomy." But yeah, so as we've been discussing, Ken Paxton and John Cornyn are going to be going to a runoff. That means we got to see more campaigning. We got to see more ads. We got to see more, you know, viral moments on Twitter. Jasmine and James. Jasmine is still kind of lagging behind. The estimated votes in are still not, going to be like there's still like 40% of the vote, but can that 40%, are you going to run in the vote in the runoff? I'm not in Texas. I'm in Nebraska. I'm not in Texas. But like, so this is a conversation I was having with people. People are just like, why are you focused on Texas? Because, on my TikTok account, which I can just show you. Some of these comments, right? Crockett takes PAC money. please, voter expansion. There's no reason why the Democratic Party can't make more rural areas competitive again without sacrificing policy for it. I see way more enthusiasm for Tallarico than Crockett. Just more tone policing of women, mainly black women. But James is more likable than Kamala. Somebody said teacher over politician any day, because my ending question was, would you rather have a civil rights attorney or a middle school teacher? Somebody said teacher over politician. However, they left out that she was a civil rights attorney. So like answer the question in like a roundabout way. Thank you. She's doing what they said they wanted. People want someone that doesn't take corporate money. But here's the other discussion about that. Okay, so if he's not directly benefiting from it, he's not saying anything to the corporate PACs that are flooding the race with pro ads for him and attack ads against Jasmine, right? So like if you are truly against corporate PAC money being involved in races, then why aren't you also saying, look, stop spending money in my race, right? Like, what do I say? Have your cake and eat it too? I don't know. Tallarico is going to win. He's the new Bill Clinton of today. Too bad it's going to be against Jasmine. But the other issue too is like people said they wanted competitive primaries, right? People wanted competitive primaries, and this is what they got. I woke up this morning to see my face on a Tallarico attack ad from her team. I will still vote for her if she gets the nomination. James speaks of his faith respectfully, and that has classy Obama energy. I'm not a fan of when people do that. Kamala was not trying to convince moderates or Republicans. I think I replied. Yeah, I said, but she was campaigning with Liz Cheney. For how I didn't even see this reply. Oh my gosh. For how long, though? Plus, many Republicans saw Cheney as a traitor, so the battle was already lost. When they came to Chicago for the DNC, their main talking points were Donald Trump, abortion, with little to no mention of common topics that align moderates or Republicans at the time: security, border, economy, gas prices, food prices. Yes, she did. I watched that whole thing. Yeah, dude. I mean, unless she can just erase his percentage lead to literally 49.9. It's like they have to clear 50%, right? Somebody has to hit at least 50%. So I think, but then again, it's just like, what comes after that? More campaigning, more blah, blah, blah. What can you show voters for the runoff that you weren't able to show them now? I need to look more into. I know that there were more gerrymandered districts. I mean, this is going to be way much better on election night because North Carolina, I believe they also did mid-decade redistricting, because representation matters and Crockett represents real people and all our feelings. Oh, yeah. What I was saying. Do you guys believe the U.S. Senate is a democratic institution? A lot of people would argue no. Dude, look at this. The Ellisons are back at it again. Updates on Iran, 3 views, 58 views. Like, how? How? If we eliminate, reform the filibuster, I would be happier with it anyway. So, like, just a majority, a simple majority. I mean, yeah, I think the filibuster, I, I mean, traditionally speaking, the filibuster was like, okay, you got to get up here and you got to talk and let us know exactly why, like a talking filibuster, right? I support that, right? Like, if you are against this bill, or if you're against whatever, get up here and explain it, talk about it, explain why, talk. But now it's what, just an email. They send an email, oh, your bill's going to be filibustered, or people just, now they're just like, we have to get 60 votes anyways to do anything. And so that's the gridlock, right? So literally a random senator in like Wisconsin can hold the entire, in Wyoming or Alaska can hold the entire country hostage for moving forward. You know, and there's like policies that really have like overwhelming support, right? 70%, a lot of like progressive policies that people want. Right? Medicaid expansion, universal health care, Medicaid for all this kind of stuff. Like, a lot of these things have like huge popular support. However, the donor class is always winning, and people, senators just don't want to upset that or lose their seat. And the other thing that I've always said, I mean, even if Jasmine Crockett doesn't pull through, right? Or anybody, right? You stand up for what's right. Just generally speaking, if you stand up for what's right and it costs you your seat, so what? The world is bigger. It really is. Same thing with like Cori Bush. She lost her seat because AIPAC flooded that race. But she stood up for what was right and it cost her her seat. You know, at the end of the day, like, the world is bigger. Most democracies have only one Congress, like House. The US is only one of the democracies that have two, and the Senate has to get 3/5 of the chamber, which makes it so hard to pass anything. Yeah. And it was literally only created by the House of Representatives because, you know, smaller states were scared that larger states were just going to trample and pass everything that they wanted. And that's not necessarily bad, but then again, it just comes down to like, okay, well, how are you going to now things are not even like beneficiary towards states. You know, it's more so just parties. It doesn't matter. Like, states, parties, blah, blah, blah. Like, it literally comes down to just political parties. What color do you have on? So if you're a Republican in New York, you're pretty similar to a Republican in, you're going to vote with a Republican from Texas, you know, or California or Florida. And same thing if you're a Democrat. If you're a Democrat, usually, I mean, depending on like where you are, if you are in a safely red seat or a safely blue seat, you're just going to rock with what your party wants. You might get a little bit nervous, like, you know, if you could face a contentious primary. AP just refreshed. Tallarico is 71,000 votes ahead. He's at 51.8. Again, I want to know how many people said Jasmine was their first pick, but they would vote for Tallarico just because, you know, they believe he would win. I agree, Nathan. Small state isn't isn't a minority. Another thing that I would argue, um, when people say like, "Oh, it's important to have your campaign policies on your website," blah blah blah. But it's almost like people acted like they didn't know who Jasmine Crockett was. Oh, you don't have this, you don't have that, you don't have this all lined up. But like you've watched her for the last few years doing what she was doing, sponsoring bills, like advocating and fighting for things. It's almost like you just have to restart from the beginning. And I mean, it literally got down to, oh, I just like how James's website is laid out better. Like then people are kind of just picking and choosing. So then Stevenson Village, Utah can just stop the country from getting health care. Crazy, right? Damn, I'm getting hungry. It's 9:48. I'm usually never here this late. I used to be all the time, but not recently. Um, there are counties here and there like that haven't been fully reported. I mean, Tallarico is leading in El Paso, as you could see, by 10,000 votes, a little over 10,000. Did you guys see all the things that Keith Edwards was saying about Jasmine Crockett and attacking her and trying to propping up James Tallarico? Again, it's the same thing, right? So like James's voters, if Jasmine won, she would have to find a way to bring those people over, right? James Tallarico will now have to find a way to bring Jasmine's voters over. But like, why do I feel like it's an open primary? I feel like I saw somewhere that like you could vote in any primary, regardless if you're Democrat or Republican. Hold on. But that doesn't make sense, right? Oh, actually, yeah, they do have an open primary system. I was right. Yeah, so voters can choose either party's primary, but they can only participate in one party's contest per election cycle. So, what if, like, a bunch of. No, that's getting into conspiracy territory. What if a bunch of people dumped in votes for James Tallarico, like Republicans in that? so that he would not lose in the general. I don't know. That's getting into conspiracy theory territory. Look at this county, 1919. Lipscomb County. They both got 19 votes in that. That's hilarious. What, 38 people voted total? Hudspeth. This is funny because it's like more than 90. This is like pretty much like it. That's hilarious. This one too, 17-17. Tennessee has a law preventing that. Controversial because what does that mean? Yeah, I mean, looks like there was looks like Jasmine Crockett spoke at her event. Let me know if you guys can hear this. Yeah, you guys can't hear that. I'm not seeing the levels. She is pretty much saying that this is what the Republicans wanted, and going to bed. Have a good one. All right. Thank you for tuning in. Good night. So she's saying that I want you guys to enjoy yourselves, but I won't be coming back out. I'm not sticking around because I don't think we're going to have votes until tomorrow. That was at 9:16, so that was like 40 some minutes ago. Yeah, James is widening his lead. She was really riding on Dallas County. There's still 30% of those votes remaining. There's still a lot, like estimated votes in Harris County remaining, 82,000 in Dallas remaining. Even if she gets all of these votes, yeah, she still wouldn't make it. But yeah. All right. Sorry for the audio issue. Caught it too late. But I'm going to bring down the stream here. Yeah, so that is kind of it. I'm curious to see tomorrow when we wake up in the morning, you know, where the results are going to stand. And so, yep. Gosh, I still got to record and send over tomorrow's videos to the editors, but all right. Well, if you tune into this or are rewatching, thank you so much. Like I said, this is my first time using Decision Desk, and so I feel like that's what I was looking at. Yeah. So I feel like it was pretty cool. This is a neat software to use. But yeah, all right. Yes, I'm going to leave too. I hope you guys all have a good evening. It is election night in America. This was fun. I'm going to look closely at the other races tomorrow in Arkansas and Louisiana and North Carolina and see kind of what all that means and all the different people running for that and kind of what the probability of some of the races flipping or holding would be. All right, Ray, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you on the Snapchat. Peace out.